Hi, this is Evan, and I'm your host for Wine Couch TV. One of my favorite segments to do, perhaps because I'm an old restaurateur and chef at heart, is our segment that we do with my dear friend Marcia Gagliardi of tablehopper.com, which is without question the most ab-fab e-column on what's going on in the San Francisco and extended Bay Area dining, barring, clubbing scene, and bringing her on our show to talk a little bit about a restaurant that we both are fond of, and she'll talk about the food, I'll talk about the wine, we'll talk about the pairings, and give it a go. So it gives me great pleasure to bring onto the show once again, Marcia Gagliardi. Marcia, I want to thank you so much for coming back on our show this week. One of the restaurants that I thought we would talk about, because last time I was here we said, let's get out of the San Francisco area a little bit. We'd focused on a couple ones, and we want to stay in California, we want to stay local, but we want to kind of expand. So we talked a little bit, and we're both hot on this restaurant up in Napa called Ubuntu. Now Ubuntu has gotten a lot of press, and in fact in the New York Times, they were named the #2 most intriguing restaurant in the United States. I don't know who #1 is.
I don't know. I would guess Alinea.
But who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, what can you tell us about Ubuntu?
Ubuntu is really unexpected because as soon as you walk in, I mean, there's this really unique art presence within the space. It's huge. I think it used to be like a futon shop or something. It's beautiful. They have these big stone walls and real open space, lots of rustic furnishings. And then there's actually a yoga studio upstairs. So that gives you a little indication that we're not in Kansas.
Right. So are we eating and doing yoga simultaneously?
Maybe you'll work out. Well, you'll probably want to do yoga first, work up an appetite, and then go downstairs and eat.
And speaking of the food, what do they do here?
It's probably the most inspiring vegetarian food I've ever tasted. And it's all about really highlighting the fresh ingredients they have from their garden, which is literally right across the way. And the food, like, you don't even miss meat, and trust me, I love to eat some good meat. But yeah, it's stunning. Just like everything is the height of its season, and really artful the way they put it together.
And is it done? I'm trying to remember. I was only there zipping through. Is it done by courses, like in a prefix? Is it a la carte? Can you do both?
You can kind of like make your own tasting menu, and Chef Jeremy Fox is just so talented. So yeah, you kind of mix and match. You can do 2, 3, 4, however you want to put it together.
And you got to have wine to go with that. So
absolutely.
Their wine program is actually quite interesting. Dan Serrao, who's the GM, and Naomi Steinkamp, who is the wine buyer, collaboratively worked to put together a really interesting wine program. They've got approximately, give or take, 200 wines on the list, of which International Flair reigns supreme. But what's really killer about this list is approximately 60%, and I didn't count actual numbers of bottles, but approximately 60% of them are done from organically or sustainably farmed producers, which, you see that a lot. I mean, you see that green is hip and organic is hip and all that, but you don't see somebody who's taking almost an exclusive focus on it, which is very consistent to what they're doing, I guess, with their food.
Entirely.
And one of the things that's also fun is that they've actually thought above and beyond just they have to be organic or they have to be green to get on this list. They actually think about it well with the food. So one of the ones I pulled out, I always like to show off a wine that they have available by the glass, because not everybody is going to always order a bottle. And when you're doing food so eclectic, it's nice to kind of mix around, is a sparkling wine.
Fabulous.
So let's pull up a glass. This is the Domaine Carneros Brut, which is located not super far away in the Carneros appellation, and it's a Chardonnay and Pinot Noir classic champagne blend. It's available on their list there for $13 a glass and $52 a bottle, which, given sparkling wine and champagne prices in restaurants these days of that genre, is actually quite good, and it works really, really well with the food on their menu. But before we talk about that, don't you think we should taste it? So first of all, great to have you. Let's taste.
Good to be back.
I know you never spit your champagne.
No spit cup on this one.
What I like about this particular wine, and what's very terrific about it, aside from the fact that it has this beautifully delicate nose and just the right amount of effervescence to sort of dance on your palate, is that it has excellent balance, and it works so versatilely with a lot of food.
Yep.
And I was thinking, we were going through the menu, and there's a couple things. I mean, aside from just your standard having a glass of wine at the bar, actually the food at the bar, they've got this sort of like a little mini thing that's some wonderful toasted Marcona almonds, which work beautifully with any sparkling wine. And they have these sort of like little chickpea fries and stuff. And those are good.
You'll see those on a lot of tables, definitely.
And they definitely both work beautifully between the texture and the toastiness. Absolute slam dunk there. But you were telling me off the air about a dish that they're really well known for. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, they have a cauliflower dish that's like a little cauliflower gratin that comes in a little pot. And the way they treat the cauliflower, it's almost like couscous, very rich, just delightful dish. And that's another one you see on almost every table. But,
and it goes really well with this because I was
yeah.
thinking, one of the things that works beautifully and one of the beauties about sparkling wine is that it just elevates flavors. So if you have something that's clean, pure, interesting, not overly spicy, and not overly profound that it's going to dominate the sparkling wine. Sparkling wine actually, perhaps beyond almost any other wine, is going to always bring the dishes out. So they've got a great list of wines. They've clearly got the fabulous menu to go with
Yes.
it. Is it hard to get a table?
Well, right now, I mean,
Anyone
off
can.
season, you can get into French Laundry without a problem right now. Well, not a problem, but anyway. But I think they have a nice lunch during the week too.
So lunch or dinner, and if you're up in the valley, if you're going to have dinner,
you could go to Domaine Carneros and then cruise on up. Yeah,
sounds like a plan. Anyway, a wonderful place, fabulous vegetarian food, a really killer and interesting wine list, and a trip worthy of leaving the confines of San Francisco.
Absolutely destination worthy.
And anyway, before we leave today, let's hit our Wine Couch Word of the Week. And I'm going to throw one at you that actually relates to both food and wine, and that is sustainable. So what does sustainable mean to you when you're hearing about it on menus and things like that?
Sustainability to me means that you're taking into account everything that goes into making that product and what you're taking from the earth and what you're giving back. And if that means that you're using an incredible amount of water, for your winery, no, not very sustainable. If you're using pesticides, anything that's not going to create a legacy for the land. So for me, it's something that I think it's a very Ubuntu kind of philosophy as well, with just mind, body, spirit, and earth.
Absolutely.
Namaste.
And I think that's very true for wine too. More and more these days you're seeing sustainable appear on wine labels, and this very much relates to a functioning, an understanding that you're a custodian and you're a steward of the land. You're sort of renting space here while you're on the earth and making sure that the land, wine-wise and health of the land-wise, is working for you.
Totally.
So that's good. Always a treat to have you on the show. You're going to come back again?
Absolutely.
We look forward to it. And until then, in the words of Ubuntu, namaste. You take care.